like, subscribe, and share. White Americans, you all are so confused, you don't know what to do. You all are totally psyched out. One, you're against paying reparations because you say your parents didn't own slaves. Okay, I can understand that. Then why did you fight for slavery? Why did you fight for slavery? Why did your parents fight for slavery and they didn't own slaves? And on top of that, slavery put them out of work. Slavery put your parents out of work. So why did you fight for slavery? And now you against me getting reparations for slavery. Well, the South paid taxes on the money they made to the U.S. government. So I want the U.S. government to pay me. But you're worrying about what the government spends money on. Well, the government just gave Venezuela $30 billion. Now, if they would have gave $30 billion to African Americans who live here in the United States, we would have spent that money where? Here. And you would have benefited from it. Because we just spent it here. But Trump done kicked the immigrants out and kicked $30 billion out also. You wanted Latinos out the country. Latinos being Latin Americans out the country. Well, he kicked them out the country and he gave them $30 billion. Now you're running around calling yourself racist. He could have, and you hate black people. He could have gave us $30 billion and we'd have left. No problem. Look, you hate Lincoln, but you love the Confederacy. Well, the Confederacy supported slavery, and slavery was going to put you out of work. And you want those statues up of the people who were going to put you out of work and keep you running around barefooted and poor. And you are loving them. Lincoln, on the other hand, freed the slaves, and then he wanted to send the slaves back to Africa. He wanted to send the slaves back to Africa. And you took him out. But you hate black people. Lincoln was making jobs for you. He was giving you segregation. And you took him out. Explain that. You love Ronald Reagan. You love Ronald Reagan. Gave him 2 terms. And what did he promise you? He said he's going to cut the rich taxes and you can have what trickles down. He didn't say that you can have what you earned. He said you can have what trickled down. And what trickled down? Basically nothing. He gave them that tax cut and didn't even raise the minimum wage. He didn't even raise the minimum wage. So you didn't even get what you earned. You know, European Caucasians are smarter than you because they work at McDonald's and they get $20 an hour for working at McDonald's, and they get hospitalization, they get time off for pregnancy, they get it all. And all you get here is $7.25 an hour, and you cannot afford to live in some cities in the United States. Now, and that goes through all the, talking about that, cost of living, talking about all Republicans. Then Reagan gave them, okay, go back to Reagan. He gave them that tax cut. And all of a sudden, We didn't have millionaires. We had billionaires in this country. Now we got billionaires. There was only one billionaire in the world, and that was Onassis, who married Jackie Kennedy. He was the only billionaire in the world. Now the taxes have been cut, and then and with the tax cut, all of a sudden we heard the word what? Deficit. We have deficits because of tax cuts to the rich. And Caucasians, all you want to do is be billionaires. But all they're giving you is welfare. They're giving you welfare and subsidies, and they can cut it off whenever they want to. You never had an American dream. You never had an American dream. All you had was all you had was welfare and subsidies. And 70% of Caucasians are getting welfare or subsidies in some form or another. And then Trump cut it off. Now you don't know what to do. And the guy is a felon. You voted for a felon. You put your trust in a felon and a man that lost 35 cases of rape and pedophilia. And you're supposed to be smart. Europeans have national health care, so they can retire and not worry about losing their home. But you let George W. Bush Sr. talk you out of it because he said that there were long lines waiting outside the hospitals. No, they weren't. You didn't go up there and look. You just took his advice. That was a lie. Even Cuba, as poor as Cuba is, they have national health care. And you call yourself smart? But hold on a minute, I'm not finished with Reagan yet. Because to pay for the tax cuts to the rich, Reagan taxed Social Security for the first time. Your money going into Social Security had already been taxed. Now you're getting taxed for the money you earn and the money you put in Social Security, and they're using the money. Social Security don't have any money because the United States borrowed all of it because of the $37 trillion deficit. Do you see how all this adds up? And then you're mad at who? You're mad at me. You're mad at me for what? You don't even know why you're mad at me. You're not mad at me because I'm committing crimes against you. Because when you commit crimes against me, because when you're talking about me, you say I'm always committing crimes against our own. You say black people are always taking out each other as an excuse for you taking us out. And then at the end of the day, every country in the world that has 29% Caucasians, every country in the world that has 29% Caucasian, except Russia, 77% of the rapes and pedophilia is done by Caucasian men. Caucasian men, where there is 29% of them, 77%, 29% of the population, the rape and sexual assault cases are committed by 77% of them. And there's more because they're not catching them all. And these people are doing multiple sexual assaults. And then there was a white woman, if you can remember, in the United States, she told her kids that if they're lost and they're in trouble and they need help, look for a black man. Now, why would a white woman tell her kids to look for a black man if they're in trouble? Because she knows. Because she knows. Okay, but now let's get back to Reagan again now, because I'm jumping all over the place, but hey, you can follow it, I hope. Now, Reagan also taxed the interest on new car purchases and credit card purchases. So he took away a lot of what we could use to itemize, further increasing our taxes. Reagan cut the taxes of the rich from 70-something% to 30-something%, and then increased the taxes on the middle class and poor, and you all voted for that. And you loved him. Nah, everybody and their grandmother knows that money to build that fence around the United States that Trump said was impenetrable, the wind blew it down. You could buy a $99 saw at Home Depot and cut it. There were people professional climbers that were able to climb this thing in 2 minutes. Then when all this came out, Trump said, no fences are impregnable. Totally backtracked. Now, he's talking about building a fence again. And you voted for him. He put farmers out of work the first time and he was in office. And what did you do? And you voted for him. He had people who worked on his construction projects. He filed bankruptcy, and some of them lost their businesses, and some of them barely held on to their businesses, and you voted for him. He got pictures all over the place with Epstein. Said he didn't know the man, and you voted for him. You voted for a felon, and now you're surprised when he basically has robbed you of your land. There was a contract signed. There was a contract. And Trump reneged on the contract. That's what the Native Americans call speaking with forked tongues. That's what you call speaking with forked tongues. And if you're so smart, why did you allow him? Why did you vote for a man that was going to deport all your immigrants? And he's still deporting immigrants, even though he knows it's hurting your business. Now explain white supremacy to me again. Because not only did he deport your workers, who you were underpaying anyway, he also sent $30 billion to Venezuela. He sent $30 billion to Venezuela. Explain white supremacy to me. He kicked out Latinos, then he sent them $30 billion. And what do? You go to church and pray that he stops this. You think he don't know what he's doing? You think he doesn't see what's happening to you? But he will get on TV and say that the American economy is doing fine. He will get on TV and say that the American economy is doing fine. Everything is great. Just wait next year. How many of you all still believe that? And then you expect me to think that you are smart. Then you expect me to think you are smart. A lot of people say that, let me explain something. African Americans, Hebrew Israelites, we are not brainwashed. You are. We are not brainwashed. You are. When America was great is when we were integrated and black cities and towns were selling your grandparents penny stocks. And your grandparents was getting rich. And it was the roaring 20s. In the 1920s was the roaring 20s. And black people were lifting the entire country up. We were lifting the entire country up. See, to lift the country up, you have to be on the bottom to push it up. To lift the country up, you got to be on the bottom to push it up. To push your country down, you have to be on the top. That's where Donald Trump is. He's on the top, pushing down. Look, like, subscribe, and share. I don't expect many Caucasians to share this because you are embarrassed. You are embarrassed. And you have good reason to be embarrassed. But anybody else watching this video, like, subscribe, share. God bless us all.